and welcome back to this week's Talking Ads Live. We had a week off last week, but Alex was on holiday, but we're back now. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to discuss the ads that have caught our eye on social media this week, across a variety of different platforms: Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. And yeah, so Tom, do you want to give us an idea of what you're going to be bringing today?
Yeah, sure. So I've got sort of a couple of ads to go through. The first ones I'll sort of talk through is actually how important brand is. Two very similar ads, and one that's actually sort of properly branded and one's almost just like a dummy brand. And why one I think works better than the other. And the second one I'm sort of going to go through is actually a competitor, a subscription service that I already use. And just how I think their messaging is maybe not quite right, or certainly how it doesn't really appeal to me. But yeah, so that's what I've got for today.
I've got one from Twitter, I believe it was, and it was one about a relationship quiz, and it was to take a quiz to see how good your relationship is, which was really weird. Yeah, it was kind of that's one I'm not so keen on. Next one was from it was a Toyota one, and the video is really engaging. It's not kind of what you would expect. When I first saw it, I thought, oh, actually, this isn't very good because it's got nothing to do with a car. But then at the end, the message comes together. So, yeah, that's what I've got.
All right, cool. Yeah, I've got an interesting remarketing ad, and like the kind of the talking point, I think, is they're quite obvious that they were remarketing. So I just kind of want to chat about how you guys felt about that. That some people don't understand it, and if you're blatant about it, is that kind of good or not? And then we obviously had some designers in our last two guests, and one that's like really nicely designed on LinkedIn, really simple, everything they were sort of talking about that they liked. So I'm a bit glad they're not here, but hopefully we can appreciate that as well.
Yeah, great.
Cool, so Tom, we'll go with your first one.
Yeah, so this is one that I got targeted with on Instagram. It is basically like a card reading device for small businesses. They sort of you see loads of these around now. It's like a point of sale card reader machine, but it comes without the same sort of like fees and everything else that are quite expensive. Like if you were to go down the more traditional route. What I don't like about this one is you can see it's actually sort of like the brand. The brand is actually, in terms of the actual, as if the name of the company is. Okay, I think it says best credit card terminal. Okay. There's a space and a question mark. And I just always think that space should actually be for the proper brand, because I'm immediately sort of like switched off. I don't really know who I'm actually dealing with or what website I'm going to go to. Even though in terms of sort of like generating leads, you can always sort of question how important the brand is in comparison to the message, the image, and everything else like that. But when you get it sort of like as wrong as that, I think it's really important, because I have no idea who it is that I'm sort of going through with. And if you compare that to another one that I was targeted with on the same day, this one's called iZettle. I know exactly who it is. The message is pretty accurate. Pretty similar to the other one. Although it's a bit more positive. This message is about making it sort of like easier for your customers, whereas the other one is about you sort of saving on banking fees. Right. So this one's more sort of like providing a better customer service, where the other one's more like a loss aversion kind of thing. But yeah, I just much preferred it. I knew who it was. I feel like I would potentially sort of, after clicking through as well, I feel like I trust the brand more. But I'm immediately more engaged because they are a brand, rather than just having another message in the space where your brand should be, if that makes sense. So yeah, no, I thought it's sort of two sort of like quite sort of interesting approaches to it, but it's sort of not one to sort of underestimate the value of a brand has, even if you still never heard of it, or the vast majority of people haven't heard of it.
Definitely, I have heard of iZettle before, definitely seen them. And I changed my mind about brands, because when I was doing so much sort of PPC freelancing, and we do lead gen stuff, we would create disposable brands like all the time. And in my mind, the value of a brand at that point, when I was working, I didn't see it as heavy as I do now. And certainly since we've done our own branding for our business and the effect that's had for us, and then how you feel about other brands, I think is really important. But yeah, so it's a bit of a weird one, and they're obviously a comparison. Are they a comparison site, the first one?
Well, that's what I wonder. I'm sort of, but then I didn't know if you would run a comparison service to it. I'd say I didn't even really click through on it. I wasn't interested. But it does make you wonder if it is.
The mock-up looks a bit stretched as well, doesn't it?
The mock-up's actually not great in terms of that hand comes forward and back, and then on the other side, a card comes forward and back as well. which I didn't really like. It just sort of looks a bit cheap, and it just added to the whole. So it's a stock one, yeah. So it just added to sort of the cheapness, if you like, of the whole ad, really.
And was the other one just a still image?
The other one was a still image. I much preferred it.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah, I much preferred it.
Always about the video.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And they're two completely different messages as well. It'd be really interesting to see if iZettle are testing obviously their message here, and obviously they're talking about the consumer, and whether they have one where they talk about the fees as well, and what you can find out. A great thing about ads is you can find out what people are interested in.
Yeah.
If you test those different messages alongside each other.
Yeah, it's almost like what you take out just as much as what you put in there. So
Interesting, you've been targeted by both, and you haven't got a shop or anything like that.
No, but in fairness, for our football club, we were looking at potentially getting one in. So I have been on other sites, but I hadn't been on either of those sites. So they obviously targeted me as it must be an interest base.
Yeah, it must be an interest base in payment.
Yeah,
payment gateways or
that was but I haven't been on for a while. But so I do still see them now and then. But yeah, that's that one.
Cool.
So the first one I saw was, I believe it'll be the relationship kind of one I saw on Twitter. Yeah, this is it. And a few things caught my eye. First one is the picture, the illustration. I think it kind of is assuming that your relationship is about they're not very happy with each other. It's kind of assuming your relationship is kind of like bad. So immediately you're thinking, okay, like should you only go on the quiz if your relationship is bad? And I think the whole idea is just odd. Like, and it's kind of is your relationship healthy? Take our quiz. I mean, no offence, a quiz isn't gonna not gonna tell you if it's healthy or not. And it's kind of saying the kind of quote is, "I feel bad for seeing my friends."
Yeah.
And it's all a bit odd. Like, I just think it's a very odd advert. And I know I come up a lot with these kind of quiz or game ones. I find them a bit kind of weird. But this one especially, I don't know. I just thought it was odd, and I didn't really see what the message was. I know they want you to take the quiz, but is it just for your bad relationship, or who's saying I feel bad for seeing my friends? It's all a bit.
It's an interesting one to put money behind.
Yeah, it just depends is it contact details they're after of young. I suppose it is focusing on the women, really, isn't it? It kind of.
Well, yeah, she
feels because of the quote.
Yeah.
So do they? And who are the mix? What do they do? Feels like a music thing. I don't know why.
I didn't click on it. Actually, I didn't even click on who the mix were.
Let's see if we can have a look at their website. Just because sometimes, I guess, are they just doing anything they can to get the audience to their site and cross-sell?
Well, I think it's getting him in like the content loop, I think, essentially, or into like a content funnel.
So it would just be to get someone's attention.
Oh, essential support for under 25. So it is a mental health charity.
That's interesting.
It looks like a charity.
Yeah.
So we'll just switch that over so everyone can see. So, I mean, my view on that, and maybe I'm being a bit naive because I'm a bit old, but it feels like the quiz is making light of something which actually is really serious.
Okay.
But I'm obviously not the target market, so it's a funny way. It feels to me that I wouldn't run that if I was the marketing manager.
No, I didn't.
And then I wouldn't even, if I was the executive, I wouldn't even ask my marketing managers. I thought they would frown upon that. That we're a serious charity. We need to.
Yeah, quizzes are. I think the issue is that calling it a quiz. Quiz makes if you switch that to an assessment.
Yeah.
Then suddenly, or something with a bit more gravitas to it, then suddenly it's immediately sort of a bit more.
And the question is, your relationship healthy? I think the design of the ad yeah, I would probably make it a bit more serious, and then they're probably going to get more people through the quiz. So it's just kind of, is it worth getting more people through the quiz and it not being right, the right sort of people and the right sort of experience, or getting less and more quality?
Yeah, and you sort of think like you said in terms of the question, is your relationship healthy? But then it's almost like it's answering the question for you.
Yeah.
With the image, are you better off asking the question, are you in an unhealthy relationship?
Yeah.
And actually sort of and actually phrasing it on a bit of a negative light, if that's what it is, it is what it is.
Yeah. Or I was thinking like the 4 signs that you're sleepwalking into an unhealthy relationship.
Yeah.
And then it's not a quiz; it's like and then it could be like, oh, actually, yeah, he does make me feel a bit uncomfortable out seeing my friends.
Yeah.
He does like check my phone all the time and stuff, and then maybe I need to do so, and then you're with the right people to do that. And they maybe have done stuff like that, and we've obviously just seen that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
A lot of the thing with ads, people do use it to test stuff, so it's hard to critique it. But I personally wouldn't have done that.
I think actually now I know what the mix is. It's completely changed how I see the ad. So I think it would have been useful for them to have put something about, in the tweet, something about them, or just kind of just a little snapshot of what actually they do and why they're doing it, because because kind of they're obviously doing it to help. Obviously their aim is to help people.
Yeah.
But to me that just seems a little bit, I don't know. Like, I would not expect that to come from a charity that.
Yeah, no, I thought the mix was. I was just thinking, a mix like music thing, like a Now 25 type thing, and they're trying to get young girls that want to listen to music. That's what I instantly thought, and it was just a thing to drag people in.
Yeah.
And then one thing that I bet they probably thought was, I can't find the slide now, but they've used that style of drawing on the side. Oh, it's gone. I can't actually find it, and they've used that style, and I bet they're here we are, and they probably thought, oh, let's tie that in with that.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really matter, because this is the only thing. This is the window to the whole thing we're seeing, and then a lot of people maybe not taking that seriously.
Yeah. I didn't. I mean, I both thought it and thought, well, that's ridiculous. How ridiculous.
Yeah,
but,
wow. You feel a bit bad now.
Yeah, no, it is, because it's a serious issue,
Yeah.
and there was me thinking, oh, it's some corny thing that's going to say if you've got a great relationship or not, but actually it's designed to help people, but I think they have gone about it in not the best way they could.
No.
I think that would be my conclusion.
Yeah. It's just amazing, isn't it, really, how people they don't get to see, obviously when you're in a marketing team or you think about marketing, you know everything about your business, but the ad is just their window.
Yeah.
People can make assumptions, first impressions on that, especially to cold traffic.
Yeah.
And sometimes we don't think about that. We're sort of guilty of not sort of thinking about, actually, this is the only thing they're going to see. They could make an impression of us based on our logo and on the first ad that they see. Really interesting one.
So the next one is a video. It's a screen recording, so hopefully it's going to be good. But I saw this one. I think this was Twitter again. And it was the same thing, promoted post. This was a Toyota one, as if it's going to be big enough. The video is...
I'm just trying to make that. And why do you think you were targeted by the...
See, this is what I do not know, because I am not into cars, anything like that. Toyota, I've never searched, it had nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
But, interestingly, another point, after we've watched it, is the engagement as well on it. It's quite big.
I'm obviously not picking up the audio. Is that important?
No. It's more kind of like the little boy and things. So boy was obviously in this bike race with loads of other people, and he was at the back, and it's kind of things like that. I don't know, someone kind of, it sounds really bad, but someone failing or like not doing as well, I think immediately grabs attention. And also they've used like a child and someone maybe a bit more vulnerable. So straight away I was kind of like, oh, oh, it's really sad. Like, oh no. But then I think it's a great video. But then I think if we can go back to the beginning, to see what the actual tweet says next to it, because I can't quite remember. So it says big dreams start small. All you have to do is go for it, and then hashtag start your impossible. So this is obviously part of a campaign. And the end one, I'm not quite sure what it's promoting in terms of their product though.
It sort of finishes almost like they're sponsoring the Olympics, I think, is it?
Yeah.
Well, I think that's how they end all of the Toyota ads on TV at the minute, because they. So I think it's an overall branding, literally not about it wants you to feel positive about Toyota as a brand.
Yeah.
Yeah, that ending bit is on all their stuff at the minute.
Oh,
I think.
okay.
Yeah, everything's related to.
So it'll be interesting to see what the whole start your impossible.
If there's going to be more stuff.
Thing, yeah.
And what their goal was, yeah.
Because I mean, actually thinking about it, I originally thought it was really good, but now it's here. You're like, well, actually, what is it about? Like, what were they trying to? Are they just trying to promote this start your impossible? I'm not sure, but interesting. There was a lot of engagement on it, like thousands of retweets, thousands of likes, and you think, obviously they're a big brand.
Yeah, so they've got budget. I mean, the budgets
so
they've got.
Definitely got the budget to do it.
Yeah, and I was just thinking because of the targeting, because you're not interested in cars, not been looking at a car. It's just literally a demographic of maybe age.
Yeah.
To just like load of people on a whole, just want to make you feel positive about Toyota as a brand in general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think it's interesting they use a kind of vulnerable character. I think that's always, when you use a video, I think that's always a winner. Animals.
Yeah.
Always a winner.
Yeah, like John Lewis. Yeah. Well, everyone loves an underdog, doesn't they?
Yeah.
You know.
And I think it works in that. But yeah, it would have been good to have had maybe a bit more information about what it was actually for.
Yeah. It'd be interesting if there's more.
Yeah.
But then I suppose, do they hope that people will go and look into it a bit more? It's like teasing you to make you want to find out a bit more, and there's like maybe a load more.
And if you then follow the hashtag, where does that take you? And
yeah.
If we have a quick look at Toyota's website, if there's anything.
Because I thought it was going to be a new car. I thought, is it a small car that you wouldn't think is going to be any good, but actually is really powerful? Like the boy is kind of, Yeah, so we're just on their website at the moment, and there's no sort of follow up to it, is there? There's nothing that says start your own possible. That's gone a bit crazy. Yeah, I wonder if you do see a bit. Oh, that's website's a bit. What's all that? Come here. Oh God. Yeah, so
no mention of it, is there? Yeah, it's just almost like a. It's just like a purely branding exercise, social exercise. Yeah. The social media team has just gone off and done their own thing, maybe. But yeah, so that was that one. Cool. Okay, so I've got one from me. So yeah, this is the remarketing one where let me bring it up. So yeah, it was making it even the language that they used was making it very clear that it was a remarketing ad. People per hour. I didn't actually look at this. Sometimes we jump in there if we need like help with like edits on audio or a video thing, or so we don't really outsource anything at all. We do everything inside the agency, but sometimes if there's like distorted audio, we did a Facebook Live once and the audio was rubbish, we didn't have time to sort it out, and there's a guy, an audio engineer, and he cleaned up the audio for us and sent it back. So little jobs like that, people per hour are pretty good for. And then the messaging says, yes, we saw you peeking at these, still need them, then get it done and dusted. So it was kind of, I mean, I'm not freaked out about it because I obviously know how remarketing works, but would a non-person feel that's a bit weird? Yeah. See, I've had this before with clothes, so this has been more, I've had an email, so I've looked at a piece of work, clothing, and I've had like an hour later an email saying like, we miss you, have you forgot about me? And it's like, it's the piece of clothing like talking. Like it's kind of like the email is from the piece of clothing that you can buy. And then I'll go on Twitter and it's like, don't forget these, and it'll be the clothes I've been looking at. Now that used to really creep me out until I learnt about stuff like this. That used to,
I used to think, oh my god, there's somebody inside my computer like watching or whatever. But yeah, it's interesting. I do think people who don't understand it would be like, oh, because I've had friends that have liked it as well, and they think, how do they know what we've been looking at? And I think that is a really big thing with ads.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, it is simple when you know and when you understand. I think what's weird is I wasn't looking at infographics, so that seems a bit weird that that's pulled through.
It's a bit off, yeah.
But yeah, it's funny again because we know it. We don't sometimes think, or maybe how someone who doesn't have that knowledge, how they're going to react to it.
Yeah.
And then I guess it's the numbers. You know, if you're getting leads or sales from it, and it stacks up in terms of it's profitable. But yeah, I just thought it was interesting that they were just really quite blatant about it.
Yeah, no, sorry, you don't often see because people are sort of, as you said, people can be a bit sensitive around the data and things like that, and sort of the, you know, are you being watched kind of thing.
Yeah.
Not necessarily in that sense, but in terms of how do you know, especially if you don't know how remarketing does work. So yeah, interesting. They're sort of like quite bold with it. Because yeah, it's interesting. I can see why it could resonate quite well.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I do see how it can put a lot.
Bit Marmite.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Do you want your ad to be a Marmite? Is that a good thing? Would you get, if you're bidding on like impressions, if you're bidding for that to be in front of 1,000 people, or you're better off being Marmite? So the ones that really do like it, you get more clicks than if it's just everyone's like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Fair point. Interesting one to test.
Yeah, no, definitely. So yeah, I mean that's one thing that made me think, because I mean what we do is a bit differently, because we could say we could advertise remarketing with a remarketing ad and explain how that works and say, I'll target you because you've been on this page. So it kind of worked for us, but for other businesses like this, does it work? Yes, I thought that was quite an interesting one.
Yeah, very.
So what are we doing next, Tom? Have you got a...
Yeah, so I've got one from one of these, sort of, you see them more and more frequently now. It's like a food, one of these, like a food box delivery. I'd say, so they mentioned the recipe thing, but I use it for sort of like the ease of cooking. It's easier to make tasty food, and it also gives you ideas if you're a bit short. So it almost like you don't have a choice in the matter. You are sent what you're sent, and there you go. And I just sort of found they're the main things I like about it. I never really thought twice about it saving time in the supermarket, because also it doesn't, because I'm going to have to go to the supermarket anyway, because I need bread and milk.
Exactly.
So that's why I found it was almost quite an interesting angle. I wonder if they have other ads running which do actually then focus on the actual, because the value for me is actually sort of having a better experience in the kitchen rather than the supermarket, if that makes sense.
No, absolutely. Well, I think we kind of always say, right, with an ad you want to have one sort of facet of your business and one idea, and that is that your ad is based around this one thing, and test it against all the others or have them all running. So it could just be that they're not just got that one ad version, they're testing all the others and you happen to see it. But yeah, I think since having a kid, we've got a 2-year-old, the supermarket now is an absolute battle. So if it was to parents, and it was that supermarket thing, if you had like a raging toddler on the supermarket floor, you wouldn't even need to show the HelloFresh food. Have like a toddler having a tantrum on the floor in an aisle. How to avoid this. And then HelloFresh, that'd be a pretty cool advert, and then it would resonate with a lot of mums, I think, because it is an absolute battle. Because there's just so much stuff going on in the supermarket. So that'd be an interesting.
Okay, yeah, good idea.
But yeah, before I didn't mind going to supermarkets. It's just
No, I like a supermarket.
Sort of waltz around, see your own time, and just get up. So yeah, funny one.
And a lot of people with those things, they don't like it because they don't pick it themselves. People get a bit funny about like not seeing what you're getting. It's the same with online food shops, that you don't see what you get. People don't like them, so maybe they could kind of play on that and say, wow, they're different, or like, you know, they are called HelloFresh. I've heard of this one
so
as well.
So they do TV advertising, don't they? The guy, the chef, I think the founder, he's either an actor or a founder. He's the same guy in the adverts.
Okay, I haven't seen it.
But yeah, I was going to say some of the click and collect shopping adverts, they always say like, oh, we pick it like it was our own sort of thing. They're trying to get that across, and then it's like, I think they have photos of the person. But yeah, it's a bit of a challenge, isn't it?
Definitely.
Cool, nice. And then is it? I've got one more.
Yeah,
I
it should
think.
be your last one.
Yeah, so I think this would have been good if I had Kaz or Andy with it. So I just think the design of it really, really simple, really sort of great message. And like you sort of
that's good.
kind of get it
brilliant.
straight away, don't you?
Yeah, really good.
And what the guys were talking about was that white space, although it's obviously black, but what I mean about you don't have to fill that whole thing, and then all they've done is sort of position those trainers, added a thing, and you kind of get these lungs because of the shape. And then what Kaz was saying about, it's not the amount of time you spend in Photoshop designing, it's how strong is that idea, and that to me felt really, really strong. And I liked it a lot, and that was on LinkedIn as well, which was
it is good, really good.
That is a good one.
So yeah, really really enjoyed that.
And they've done that. What's it called? With the effect on the. Is it like?
Oh, is it the mono? What Kaz was talking about,
Yes.
the duotone?
Duotone.
Yeah, I suppose
yeah.
to because to help it obviously
Kinda
make
look
it look
like
like the lungs. So yeah, so in terms of someone creating that design in Photoshop would not take very long,
No.
but it's obviously the creative concept.
Yeah. What was it from? Was it just a?
Just I didn't see. So I think it might have been a magazine one. I think someone else might. So I don't think I saw it because Nike was sending it to me. I think someone else said, "Oh, check this out. It's really quite cool." But I don't know if it coincides. Obviously, Nike's got this. I don't know if you heard about the NFL player. The guy, he's the first guy to kneel during the national anthems. Have you heard about it? And there's a massive talk about Nike at the minute. About all of that, people burning their trainers,
cutting their socks off. Yeah, crazy, isn't it?
Which is a bit crazy. I think it's obviously the guy's he's not trying to protest against the anthem, and I think the kneeling was a thing to actually show respect. Whilst
I think it's like a military thing I've read.
So yeah, it's gone crazy. But we obviously follow Gary Vaynerchuk a bit. He's got his own brand of trainers he's done with K-Swiss, I think. But he had a pair of Nike Airs with the American flag on, and he was taking pictures of that whilst obviously got a contract with K-Swiss. I thought that was quite interesting. And his own trainers. It was kind of like showing support of Nike. So he wasn't sort of putting his own agenda of trying to sell more of his own trainers. He was kind of like backing them. Well, so it's been kind of an interesting week for Nike.
And
I just thought it was really cool that they can still produce stuff like this with all that going on. So yeah, really enjoyed that.
Yeah, great.
So that will be it for today's episode. The podcast, is it back to normal?
Yeah, it should be back to normal. I don't think we recorded the one for Andy's one. I did a bit. So we're going to catch up and make sure we've got a podcast episode for the episode with Andy, and then we'll be recording one tomorrow for this episode, and be back to normal. So it should be a weekly thing. Obviously, we went on holiday, but it's like the first time in 4 years. I'll be going on holiday again anytime soon. But yeah, that'll be back. We're still not on Apple yet. We're getting a few kind of episodes together before we go on Apple, but if you go on our website, theleadengine.co.uk, you can access the podcast and all the other episodes of Talking Ads as well.
Cool, so thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week at the same time.